What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, call swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys had a good weekend. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Ben, Bill, Brad, Brian. Good morning to you. Good morning to Chris, Dragon, Frank, Helen. We got Joe, Keith, Lauren, Marius, Martina, Mike, Peter, Russ, Tim. Good morning to all you guys. Good morning to all you guys out in YouTube land. We got Sabine, Leonard. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the background of YouTube that's just not going to say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. Chris saying first day in AAP can never be a first again. Absolutely incredible. Welcome. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can't wait to trade with you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's make an order two. Hey. Yeah, I feel like I should do like the Red Robin birthday songs for people. I don't know. It's a wild Monday. It's a wild Monday. We got Spy gapping up. Gapping down a little bit, but off the backs of a absolutely incredible day. If you missed that one candle from Jerome Powell, if you missed that one comment from Jerome Powell, like I did, we were lucky enough. We got into Tesla early. We hit our targets. We were out. We followed the plan. MU, I think, was the one that got me because that was. Let me see if I can pull up the chart from MU on Friday. MU had this nice little consolidation. It looks like it wanted to go bullish. It even dropped right before. So where I was like, man, I should have did it. I was thinking about it, just didn't pull the trigger. Didn't know what was going to come from Jerome Powell. But we could have threw an entry up there, stops low of the day. And again, if Jerome Powell says something negative, the market drops, we don't get filled. But yeah, that one candle, that's the one I saw the setup to, and I was like, I wish we could have got it in. Even Tesla, that was SPY, but everything was exactly the same. Let me pull up MU. MU, same thing. So there's the little breakout. We were thinking maybe we get a break, but everything had that one big candle. You had a couple of candles that followed through, and then the market did nothing except rest, but it was able to get to new all-time highs. So we did it. We breached it. We didn't close at new all-time highs. Today we're pulling back a little bit. Um, Here's a theory: 50% retrace. It's pretty works pretty much at least 50% of the time. It's nice. But we're sitting there with a double top at all-time highs. Uh, I don't know. I think the momentum's still good. I think we still run in. I think there's just a big, massive day in the markets. That being said, we do probably have to rest a little bit. The weekly candle, yeah, we're just opening. Interesting spot from open from the open of last week to the close, just sitting probably about the 618. Otherwise, the entire candle is still really, really high up there for the week. Let's take a look at that monthly candle, an absolute beast. Incredible, incredible close. Obviously, this candle's still open, so we'll see. But yeah, just everything just ran and just kind of sat there. Even most of the futures last night was kind of just sitting sideways. But we do have a little pullback. You are getting some profit taking here. First line of support I'm looking for is 643.30. If we get above that, you have a decent support kind of building in at a resistance at 644.23. And now a pretty incredible monster resistance. So what we need is a close. We got to get a close 645.16 or higher, and that will pretty much take us into the next kind of push in the market. But really, really good bullish engulfing candle everywhere. If we start to break that support, I think looking at this 643.66 does take us about halfway through Friday's candle. So we do have some support there. I would say a pretty decent one. If we start to lose that, we could be seeing back to like 639.13. So bulls are probably going to want to try to hold it. Again, over the weekend, no news to really negate Jerome Powell's bullish, dovish sentiment. Um, Trump did speak, but nothing really crazy. Friday, after the market closed, he did start talking about tariffs in furniture. Uh, so some of the furniture companies, especially the companies that make most of their stuff in the US, or at least has the most sales in the US, they started to push while Wayfair, some other names started to drop a little bit. But That was really the only thing over the weekend. Otherwise, kind of a quiet weekend, and I think we're just leaning on Jerome Powell still. I think dips get bought. I'm not sure that this is a big enough dip. I think we got to really wait for this 642.19 to come in, but otherwise, well, still inside that Friday candle. It's going to take a lot to take that one out. Lauren says, "Why I feel like today could be a chop fest. It could be, yeah. How many times, whether it's earnings, whether it's a company that has crazy big news, you have a big breakout candle, and the next day is a big do nothing day. The market rests a little bit, and then you kind of continue from there. We do have a lot of earnings coming out this week. Nothing really. Well, yeah, we got Nvidia and Marvell this week in tech land. Otherwise, a lot of the retail names kind of coming out this week. So we still have some decent earnings to come out, and we'll see, especially with Nvidia. That's going to be the big one. Marvell's going to be interesting too. They usually dump after earnings, usually pretty good earnings, and then they dump. So I'm going to have to see how that one plays out. Last time they reported earnings, they had really good earnings. They got slaughtered, and then the next day or two, they just started to rise and break through it. So if that happens again, I think my play is going to be on Marvell. I don't think I'm going to go into it prior to earnings, but we'll see. So we still have some decent news to come out, but I think the market right now, unless something changes with Jerome Powell, unless we get more CPI, PPI, which we will be getting before the next rate cut, if we start to see bad numbers in there, then maybe the market doesn't take it as positive. But for right now, I think all momentum still bullish. I think this is going to be a buy the dip opportunity, but we'll see. We got the Qs. Also, gap and go to the bear side, still definitely inside day. I'd be if this was a gap and go outside of today, that would be crazy. That would be trapping everybody. But a little bit of a pullback. I think you got your first support on this one, 569.20. To the higher side, if we get that bounce higher, watch for this 572. Qs did not hit all-time highs. Still a little bit far off, but again, it was the leader into all-time highs on the first push, and now I think we're just the rest of the market's kind of catching up. And again, a lot of these tech names, the bigger guys in the Qs, they're not really too interest rate sensitive. So they really got to continue with the AI story for them to push, and I think they will. But yeah, for right now, just kind of resting, pulling back. Watch that first support. If that support breaks, which I think is actually a really really good support on them, 569.22. You also kind of meet up with this candle from July 30th. That was that support as well. But if it does happen to break, you have another really really good support right below it. That's kind of about your 618, I think, just eyeballing it. But 567.20 would be the next really good spot we kind of have to hold. So, but I'm expecting probably a little bit more profit taking would make sense. And then I think the dip ends up getting bought. Bitcoin, um, at the 100. What did I just do there? We got the Bitcoin at the 100 EMA. This one also had a good rally. I'm a little shocked that Bitcoin is kind of coming down as much as it is. I think Yates was, I think he made a post in Slack. He was looking for a little bit lower from here too. And I would defer to Yates as the crypto guy. But I thought if we get lower interest rates, we would see, and we're not too far from all-time highs still. So maybe we still have that run up, and we're just kind of pricing in that we were going to get those lower rate hikes. We did show positivity on Friday. Everything was looking decent. Lower interest rates typically mean risk on environment. Not loving at all where we're sitting, but we do have a little support from the 100. I think that probably ends up breaking, and then we've been talking about this 109 zone for quite some time. So. Maybe it has a little bit lower to go, unless today, magically, at the end of the day, looks a lot like Sunday, which did do this, where we got down to this 100, we bounced, we closed as a hammer. If that happens today, we close anywhere above 113.43, I think that looks good. For maybe this is just buy the dip. I think I'd be waiting, but we'll see how today develops. We'll see how Bitcoin chart closes today. Otherwise, it still looks a little bit weaker, and we are giving This is twice now that we're breaking down Friday's crazy day. So we'll see. But I think Bitcoin still looks weak. So that probably puts a little pressure on Hood. That puts pressure, I think, on Riot, Mara, Coinbase, MSTR, all those guys. Be careful of trying to play the bounces on them until we see Bitcoin actually hit some kind of support. All right, we got some tickers coming in. PLTR. Um, Let me take that line off. Gap down, kind of like Q's, kind of like SPY. Um, are we at the 618 now? We are at a little bit of a level of support. Let's see, where are we sitting? That's roughly the 618, maybe a tad lower than it, but we do have that support somewhere right around 156.06. So very interesting bounce spot. You're still dealing with this candle from August 19th. And it looks to me on Friday, we were talking about that retest. I was hoping we get that full retest on August 20th, and we didn't get there that day. We didn't get there on the 21st. It did take us Jerome Powell to get to that resistance through it, and then essentially closing pretty much right at it, maybe actually a tad higher. So that's a little bit of a pretty negative gap down. Very interesting buy spot just off the 618 if you're trying to play risk reward from Friday specifically. Other than that, we're still kind of just pulling back a little bit. I wouldn't be shocked if we get down to this 100 at some point, which would take us into like this 136.75 zone. So I think we still have a little bit more room to go. Other than that, we did hold the support. The big one that would kind of tell us, and we're just chopping, I think, for now. But we got 153.56. If we get candles that close below that one, then I think the trend continues to the downside, and you get a little bit more of a actual pullback on Palantir, which we have not had in months. So we'll see. But yeah, I want to watch that open. If we're above 156.02, let's say, which we're at 156.09, 156.12, chop. But I think he favors the bulls a little bit. Anything that starts breaking below that, then I think still chop. But I think it's kind of gonna flip a little bit to the bearish lean on that one. So we'll have to see where that one opens, what the first couple candles look like. Let's put this one a little bit higher on the list. We got Coinbase. Again, Coinbase pulling back. Not a three bar reversal because it took us 4 days to get this thing done. However, if we were to recreate this candle, you got your open here, essentially close right around here, so it's still a little bit red. Price action all the way through here. You have a interesting double bottom. If we could break through this candle, then I think for a swing trade basis, this looks really good in a bullish direction. Your confirmation would actually come in a little bit higher. So any candles that starting to close above 328.80, that will give us our confirmation. We do have a potential reversal signal today. Obviously gapping down a little bit, staying inside of Friday's candle, but we're approaching a little bit of support. First one, I think somewhere around 310.74, so I'd let this thing still pull back a little bit. 309.68, and then a bigger one, but not as healthy if we get down there, but just better risk reward if it comes down to like 304.64. I'm not sure that we get there if the bulls want to maintain. Again, if Bitcoin's looking a little bit weak, I'd be concerned, but otherwise we're holding this longer term support 293.13 that gave you one buy opportunity, two buy opportunities. Anybody that just played that one, they are profitable. This might be some profit taking. You obviously have a big old gap at 370.70, and then maybe even a little bit higher, 382.31. But it's trying. You're still dealing with this gap down from August 1st, the first of the month. We really have not done much since the first day of the month. And bigger volume to hold is if we get down to like 258, 259, somewhere down there. So I think we're just inside this range, this monthly range, and we'll see if we could ever break through this August 19th candle, get some closing above it, and then I think bulls start looking at that gap fill. Otherwise, I think we're just dancing. Just doing that dance for now. DAL, Delta Airlines. Pretty fantastic close. Where's the last gap on this one? Unless I'm missing one, the last one was 58.20, so we've already kind of closed that gap. We broke through it, we pulled back, we used that gap fill as support. Great looking candle on Friday. Looks pretty decent. I do think the lower interest rates will help Delta. Um, all these airlines probably. Uh, for today, I'm looking for 6109. See if we get a bounce. If we get a bounce again, that's a good breakout day. Not a huge amount of volume, surprisingly, but good breakout day. Great close. I would be looking for about 6105 for our first support, second one, 6069, third, 6028. If they let that go, you have a decent more amount of room down to like 5920 for a retest. But for right now, still hanging out above that last pivot. A little bit of resistance in on this one, right around the 6132 range. It looks like we closed above it, holding that support. I would look for continuation. The problem is, like we just discussed, good breakout day, maybe just a small inside day for today. But I would keep my eyes on it. It looks good in a longer term sense. I don't know that we have the same feverish buying that came in on Friday, but we'll get Delta a little bit higher. Keep that on the watch list. Okta, OKTA. Okta is gap up. Earnings, is that today? Tuesday after the bell. So we do have earnings on Okta. The last couple have been good. We beat by 11% earnings per share on the last one, almost 6, 14. So earnings have been pretty strong, a little bit all over the place, but most of the time rather strong. You don't have too much, like, yeah, you're still running into some volume all the way up to like $98, $98.10. Longer term perspective, is this about a 618 retracement on this one? Let's see, we got here. Yeah, we kind of danced with the 618. I think, and we do have obviously a retest gap for today, a little bit of resistance coming in at 9606. My guess would be this is a fade. If I was to take a stab at this one, I probably wouldn't go long here. You have resistance right in front of you. Looks a little different than the rest of the market. But then you have your 50, your 200, your 100 all coming in slightly higher than where we're at now. So I think that provides a little bit of resistance. Plus, this is a retest gap for Friday. I think this is a decent retest to the downside. Maybe first candle, first two candles pop green right into that little bit higher resistance. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be a buyer here. If it wants to come back down to 92.52, again, it's not a recommendation, but that takes you into a longer term 618 ahead of earnings. Maybe worth the spot to make some kind of a play. Earnings have been decent historically from Okta. So if we get that little bit of a pullback, I think 92.52 is the zone I'd be watching for Okta to maybe make an options play if the premium is not too bad. If it is, maybe a couple shares ahead of earnings. But I would be expecting, unless something crazy happens, I think I would expect some decent earnings from INTC, the beloved by Trump and America's chip company. It's official. We we own 10% of Intel. I was trying to see how this deal was structured. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. So basically, we took the money that was already allotted in the CHIPS Act. We were going to give them the money anyway. So now we have potential upside in it. Obviously, we don't really see, as U.S. citizens, we don't really see any value, like any. It's not like they cut divvies, so we have no divvies. If they ever put back divvies, I think it was like a 9.4% stake actually is what we get. So we'd be making about, I think it was like $457 million in divvies if they start just reinstating the last dividend, which is like 38 cents a quarter or 38 cents. So if we get 38 cents back, the US starts getting distributions, which is nice. Otherwise, it's probably a longer term hold, but it does give a little bit of edge longer term. First of all, it gives cash infusion. Also, I looked at how that they structured the like where those shares came from, and they were just created. So there is dilution. Everyone's who's holding Intel, you did get diluted by about 9.4% as well. Other than that, I think the deal looks very interesting. I think it's a pretty crazy deal. I think they do get some kind of a unique advantage, probably favorable to some policies. I know some people are a little concerned that the government is now involving itself into private businesses, but we were just going to give them cash anyway. So I don't really don't think it's a bad deal. I think it's a very interesting concept. We've held pretty nicely $20.42. We are getting to a range. I mean, there's a little volume to hold us back, 26, 28, something like that. We've been struggling. We're close to the highs of kind of this longer term, just sideways range. I think we'd have to be looking into this gap fill 29.96, maybe come a little bit higher, $30.50. But for the most part, the other thing too, which was interesting, is we got the shares cheaper than the market. So I think the U.S. paid $20.47, if I'm not mistaken. So we already net positive as a country on Intel, which was a decent deal. But one big resistance this is a retest gap for today. So one big resistance, 25.44. If we start breaking above it, like I said, there's no volume above us. I think we could continue from there. Be careful at open. And maybe if we see like a high wave candle, we could take a break. Intel looks interesting. Otherwise, if we get this pullback, we've got $24.98. So is this the Gov now obligated to use Intel chips regardless of quantity? Not necessarily, because we also have some deals with Nvidia as well. I think we have a deal with AMD, not to the same extent that we own them, but I think it's a little more likely we probably use some Intel. I think it gives Intel, like I said, the cash fusion to try to catch up to AMD, catch up to Nvidia a little bit, use a little bit of money toward the research and development and make a stronger product. I think it helps to guarantee that we get some more Intel jobs in the US. So longer term factors, I think, would trickle down a little bit into the economy of even payroll taxes and stuff like that too. But yeah, interesting deal. I don't think we're obligated. I think you get a little bit more lean in some of the policies, but other than that, Intel, yeah, I'm definitely keeping this one on the list today. I think that looks very interesting, especially we got to pull back first, but I'll take a high wave candle, 3 minute, 5 minutes, something like that. OPEN, Open Door Technologies. Kind of looks like it's opening the door to the vault. That is a long double bottom. That is a lot of just straight downtrend on open door. Nice little pop. We broke the first resistance. I know this is very small, but I'm trying to see a bigger picture. Nice little pop on this one. Getting above that first little hurdle. We pulled back. We retested. That looks good. We have longer term volume at $3.53. We are well above that. We've got not even close to all-time highs. I don't know if we get there, but a couple spots in between, $8.06. We got $10.48. I think a big resistance is actually around $14.74. So off of $5, which now it does break the that criteria where I day trade only stocks above $5. So that's interesting. For right now, you are at the high of the day. This is a massive move that Open Door put in on Friday. I think a better buy spot if you get a. I'd see what happens here. I don't know if I'd have automatic buys out there at 434, but that would be my support. That's where I would like to get it. A name like this one, bad, not great earnings. They did come in with 63 million, higher than expected. But if this one wants to pull back a little bit, I think that could be a very interesting spot. I don't know what the short float is on it, but it does look like it is pepping up. You've got almost one big hurdle we got to get through, around $5.16. If we could do it, we'd probably move from there. Tesla. I saw Tesla was gapping up a little bit last night. I don't know. Where did we get in? We got in on this day trade like right at the open. 321.93, and now you are $19 higher than it. Next resistance on this one would take us into 340.81. A big one if we get some closing outside of like or above 343.06, I think would look really interesting. Otherwise, gapping out to the downside, still maintaining the very, very high end of this. Watch for your supports. If this one wants to come down a little bit lower, somewhere around 338.30. If we could hold it, great. If not, I got one level slightly lower, 337.93. If we can't hold that, we're probably coming back down to like 334.43-ish. So we'll see how that first support again. This is a lot of buying. You might see a little bit more profit taking, but if that support looks like it's about to hold, maybe interesting. You probably need a tighter setup for today. Again, I'm not expecting, we'll see what happens, but I'm not expecting a huge breakout and bigger targets in this one, 350. I don't think we hit that today. So small inside day, small pullback. I think we have a better shot of breaking the support than we do breaking the resistance after a day like that. But ultimately, really, really good day. I think again, if we could pull back, I think 334.12. That's a healthier pullback. So we'll see what happens on Tessie. Little bit of chop, and I think that goes with everything. I don't think any of the selling today is because we're bearish. I think it's we're hitting all-time highs. We've had an incredible day. We're getting very close to the end of the month, and some people might want to just stamp their books with a couple wins. We got VTLE, Vital Energy. There's a very impressive gap. It is a retest gap. If a full retest comes in, 1575. That would be your buy spot. I don't think this comes all the way back down, though. I think you're looking at some kind of support somewhere around $16.46. Again, I'm not sure what the short float is on this one. And then the next spot after that, which I don't really want to see us get to, but if it does, that's still a little bit of a. There was a support there before, so somewhere around $16.26. But I don't think we do a full-on retest of this one. This one probably small pullback, and then I think runs. It's already starting to do it now, but. That is the morning bell. So we'll see how these candles want to act. I know I didn't get to all of the stocks today, but decent amount on the list. Lot to talk about, lot to trade, and we'll see what happens. Everybody on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. You guys are incredible. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.